Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 354, Intention and Action. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm also lovingly known as RCA. I am the host. I'm here today in my studio with my amazing producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast, episode 354, Intention and Action. So we're sort of building on to last week's episode when we talked about intuition and faith, trusting your instincts, that voice inside your head, leaning into the voice of God, or however you want to interpret it, following that kind of guidance. And today, I believe we'll be talking about putting those things into action, setting the intentions and putting, moving into action. Before we get into that, though, we do want to let you know about a very exciting episode we have coming up next week. We have singer-songwriter Faith Rivera and Conneta Johnson. Conneta Johnson wrote the lyrics for the song Standing is One, which has sort of become a great anthem for unity and for oneness and for all the things that we so desperately need to be putting out more of nowadays. So make sure you join us next week for that very special episode where we have the Faith Rivera and Conneta Johnson joining us. It's going to be a great episode.
That was awesome. I had never met Conneta, knew about her, and she is going to be a guest speaker coming up on the network too at the end of April. So we had a wonderful connection. I mean, spirit, soul connection. And I just thought, Faith is such a great soul and always a connector of people. And as soon as I met Conneta, I said, I'm connected with this woman, and I love those soul connections. And the words of that song are incredible. So excited to do the show and have that air. I mean, man, we started the year out fantastic. Mary Delaney, last month, and now, at the beginning of this month, and now Faith to start off April. This is a great way to kick off having, more interviews on the show again. It's really amazing.
And if you're familiar with that song, friends, you definitely want to make sure you don't miss that episode, because we get to hear the whole backstory of how it came to be, some really great information. And of course, they're just both really amazing people. So make sure you join us next week for that episode, Faith Rivera and Conneta Johnson. But for today, welcome officially to episode 354 as we talk about intention and action.
Boom, intention and action. Friends, one of my favorite things to talk about. Many of you know that I have my intentions journal. It's been on Amazon for months now, and it's really wonderful as people from all around the country are ordering it. I don't know if we've had any outside the country yet. I'll have to double check that, but thank you for ordering and for doing the spiritual work. I created it just so it was easy to get you the materials into your hands to begin doing the intention work. And as you know, friends, I do this work every day myself, and intention is most definitely related to action. I also want to mention that we had talked just a few weeks ago about the movie In God We Trust. I think the title of that show, Sean, was Spiritual Cinema, right? In God We Trust, because we studied that movie. And there's a lot in there about intention. So we'll try to put that in the show notes again as well. We want to give you all the ways and the many resources as possible to work with this idea of intention. Intention. I find in the world today at large, the main intention is to be right, not to do good. There's a verse that's, I'm spacing on the reference. To do good, to walk justly, to do good, to create justice, to walk humbly with your God. Sean, you got to help me find that verse. That's a great resource, that verse, for understanding intention. So I care more about my spiritual intention than I do about being right. Even though I'm a strong personality, I would always rather follow Spirit's guidance, which we talked about last week, in the intuitive nature, and then set my intention for a day, knowing that as I set that intention, I am literally inviting energy that matches with that spiritual intention, into my life for that day. And then, in fact, going forward. I believe we live in a world of reactivity instead of intentionality. And setting your intention, being intentional takes time. So you might be listening saying, what is an intention anyway? I think of it as almost a visionary in its process, because it is taking what is a high spiritual ideal and saying this ideal, this spiritual energy, the spiritual nature, is what is needed in my life today. And so sometimes in my morning routine of setting that intention, I will bring over my work calendar and I will pray about it. I will look at my work calendar. I'll take a few deep breaths and I'll say, what is my I am of the day? What is my I am? What is my intention? That's my I am. In other words, what is my highest spiritual ideal or energy that is needed in my life today? I want to set that as an intention, not for just how I think, but for how I act in the world. And so do you see how that can work? Sean, what were you going to offer up? Did you find the verse?
I hope so. I hope this is the one, Timothy. So command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Is that it?
No.
No, I didn't. I thought.
Okay. Search, walk humbly with our God.
Okay.
To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God.
Okay.
Try that. Because that's a great intention. Every Sunday morning before I give a message, I stand inside my office with my Bible and I do a special prayer every Sunday. And it is a prayer of intentionality. It really, really is. And the prayer, the intention is a Bible verse. And it is, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. That is my prayer. I've said it for years right before I go out and speak. So my prayer is always, I want this to honor God. Yes. Did you find it, Sean?
I believe it's Micah verses 6 through 8. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God.
Yes. It's Micah 6:8, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Read it one more time.
Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Beautiful.
Beautiful. This is related to intention. And I was thinking that if you were listening to the news today and you decided to bring in this idea, that Bible verse, Micah 6:8, how would that change how you're reacting to everything? It's causing me to pause a minute and breathe into that idea. To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. What a powerful intention that would be. What I believe, friends, is that we are such powerful co-creators. And I think because the noise of everything around us is so loud, including sometimes spiritual people saying, do this, do that, the protests, the angry posts, as we've talked about, the angry news. And, it's, if we could just quiet enough to hear this voice of God and then be intentional in our life and world, how different life would feel. And I can tell you that over the last several months, I've been doing this intentional work for years and daily, just, in writing the journal and creating the journal, the reason I did that is I was using it myself every day. And, I was going through, a hard time there for a while where I had a lot of change at once and I needed something to ground me. And setting that sacred intention just helped me have a goal and a purpose for the day. If I was wanting to react, my mind would bring back that intention. It's like, well, okay. Yeah, what is that? And I would just be able to pause and think. This morning, my intention was one I don't think I'd ever had before. It was just the word life. And it was like to be just present to life, to have life energy, to live life all out and with joy and not question, just have faith and move forward. So, but for me, it was just embodied in that one word, life. I am life. I am love. I am peace. I am. So think about, how you could maybe use this intention to start your day and then how it would then impact next steps, action steps. Because a lot of us will, we do it at church every Sunday. We have a pray in and everyone sets an intention aloud. Well, if you set an intention for peace and then you go around gossiping about everybody in the hospitality time or, you talk to people in an angry, mean way, you're out of alignment with your intention. And the idea is to seek to align with your sacred intention so that your actions match your words. I had a therapist many, many years ago who said, you're not responsible for what you think and feel, but for what you do and say. And then I realized as I healed more and more that if my thoughts and feelings did not match my words and actions, then I was out of alignment somehow. But in those early days, she was exactly right. She was exactly right. Early on in my journey, I learned I'm not responsible for what I think and feel, but what I do and say. Well, we're walking around in a world right now that doesn't seem responsible. People don't feel responsible for any of it. And what I want you to know is the clearer you get and the more work that you do, that your thoughts and feelings and your words and actions match up. And that is a place of true freedom. And if you mess up because you're human, you take responsibility and say, I messed up, I'm human. I've never pretended to be perfect, friends. I'll tell you. People put all these expectations on me because I'm a minister and I'm a person. I'm a human. I have likes and dislikes. I make mistakes. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I'm tired and get hangry. And it's because I'm a human. But I don't take people out with my words. I don't abdicate responsibility. If I've messed up, I take responsibility. And so to be intentional simply means I'm taking responsibility for what's happening in my life and world. I'm going to set that intention and I'm going to have my action match up with that. Right? So I'm going to set the intention and then I'm going to take action. And the reason we see so much activity in our world is we're seeing reactivity with no intention. So the action isn't focused. The action isn't purposeful, except for maybe to be right. Sean and I were just talking about that's probably a whole show. Do you want to be right or do you want to be enlightened? So it could possibly be bleeding into this show because it's all about intention. If you wake up in the morning and you just wake up and go to work and you do everything you normally do, well, nothing's ever going to change. If you're trying to grow spiritually, if you're trying to awaken spiritually, you're going to get up in the morning, you're going to set a spiritual intention, and you're going to do your best to live into that intention as the day goes on. And it doesn't matter what field you're in, this can be done. You could be an entrepreneur. You could be a city council woman or man. Or you could be the president of the United States. You could cut hair for a living. I always forget the proper word for that. But you could do nails for a living. You could be a minister. And friends, there are plenty of ministers that are not intentional, right? They just get up and do the same old thing. I've done it myself. It's called being human. But I'll tell you, for years now, I don't miss a day with being intentional. It has made too big of a difference in my quality of life. I am happier. I am more at peace. I am more centered. I am more financially prosperous because my actions are intentional. They are meaningful. I mean to do them. And if it's not mine to do, I know because it doesn't align with my intention for myself and my world. It was like we were talking about last week about coming off Facebook and Instagram. That was an intuitive guidance. And then as we became more and more intentional about how we wanted to use our energy, because Sean and I are two people, we have a very small staff that provides all these programs and classes and everything else. And, you know, it's like, well, how do I want to use my energy? I want to be intentional. I want the energy I put out to have purpose, and I still want to live a life. I can't be connected to a computer 24/7 giving spiritual messages. I also have to rest. I also have to be a senior minister. And these are all things I love to do as well. So it's like my life has to be balanced and intentional. So as I wake up more and more to God's purpose for me, as I wake up more and more to my potential as a human being, I want to grow personally. I want to grow professionally. I want to grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. So these areas of my life that I want to have growth, there has to be an intention and an action associated, or it will simply be a wish. My friend Richard Rogers used to say, a wish is just a desire without commitment. And I would say a desire without intention. Mm-hmm. We just sit around wishing things were different and doing nothing about it. You know, often if I have a lot going on, or let's say I have a couple big meetings coming up or a couple of long work days, like this week in particular, when we're recording, I had just kicked off a big series at church. It requires more preparation and more notes and things from me. I'm also starting a bunch of classes, you know, and stuff this week on my personal time, as well as catching up from being on vacation. You know, when I was gone for several days, catching up with some clients and checking in with people who've been out ill and stuff like that. So, you know, as I make the time for that, my intention reflects that various activity. Sometimes the intention around that is a divine order because I'm doing a number of things in one day. Sometimes that intention is peace because I don't want to overdo and get frenetic in my energy. I still want my energy to be grounded and purposeful. Sometimes my intention for the day is I am light because I want to be an illuminating presence. I'm not trying to force anybody to be somewhere, but I want to be the presence of light so that people just automatically start to wake up as they hear my words or as I pray with them or as I'm simply a presence. So the intention you set is really powerful. The intention you set is really, really powerful. So I hope that you are doing that on a daily basis. And if you're not, I hope you start. Because I can't tell you the joy and goodness it brings me in a given day. I love my intention for today, which is I am life. I love the idea that I'm just living a life energy, that my life is full, it is joyful, it is intentional, it has a lot of passion. I just love this intention today. I am life. I am life. Mm-hmm. That's been another. I know I'm pausing. I'm feeling kind of pensive around this intentional idea. part of the pensiveness and the pause is that over the years, as my practice has deepened, my intentions have gotten simpler and simpler. Sometimes, well, for a while, let me just say this, for a while, my daily intention, because I was working on things both physically and spiritually that were requiring a lot of strength. So my intention for the day was, I am strength. I was thinking about strengthening my muscles. And then I was thinking about strengthening my spirit, so that no matter what's happening, I'm at peace, And so then one day I was taking a few deep breaths, and what came through was, I am strength and peace. And I liked that. I said, I don't have to be one or the other. I get to be both. Another day, what came through as I breathed was, I am strength and grace. And then I looked at my coffee mug. I had forgotten this mug I'd gotten years earlier. Right on the mug, it just had one word, strength. And I thought, I was probably needing this affirmation for a long time, and Spirit knew, I just liked it. Right? So it's just one word on the mug, strength. So I am strength and grace. I am strength and peace. And realizing, even though they might appear from the outer to be diametrically opposed, they're not at all. Strength and grace. If strength doesn't have grace and grace doesn't have strength, you have neither. So it's been a really deep aspect to my walk. And sometimes it's only one or two words. I'm just amazed at how Spirit can work like that. Like one or two words can have all this meaning all of a sudden. Like maybe 10 years ago, if I were writing an intention, I am light, I thought that meant I had to go do something, had to go be a light. And like, yeah, here I am. I'm a light. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Now it's more, I am light. And I just beam that light out. Right? That's how I think of it differently this now, as I've been doing this so long. So as you move forward in your intention setting every day, it'll have a different meaning at different times, based on where you are in your journey and what you need. What I want you to be clear about is that setting an intention is for your health, for your well-being, for your mental and emotional stability. It will help you act with meaning and purpose. And it will definitely bring more good into your life, because your intention helps you focus your energy. And when you focus your energy on something, it's like everything like it wakes up. And we know a lot about this through quantum physics, that as we establish clarity of mind, clarity of thought, that the universe has to bring that back into our life and into our world. This is what we saw Jesus do over and over and over. As he could hold an intention of wholeness, people were healed in his presence. As he held an intention of health, health was manifest for individuals. So it talks all about this in the Bible. We often call it the law of circulation, right? Or the law of karma, that whatever we do, whatever we put out is what we get back. And so that intention helps us establish a certain resonance in the world. We might say a certain resonant vibration as a part of the universe. So that just like music has vibrational tones, the higher tones has a different vibration than a lower tone. Same is true emotionally and spiritually. That these higher awarenesses of strength, of light, of grace, of peace, of life, of forgiveness, these are a different vibration than ego righteousness, or I'm right and you're wrong, or certainly of hatred. Like love is its opposite, right? So think about the different vibrational reality of those words. So when we are setting our intention and then preparing to take action, we are kind of setting the course for our day with high spiritual ideas. So my friends, after the intention, you must follow it with like action. Setting the intention is only the first part. The second part is taking guided spiritual action. Remember that the action must be in line with a high spiritual intention. An action to do harm to yourself or others is never a spiritual action. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. An intention and high spiritual action includes all the good, justice, mercy, walking humbly with your God. These are the types of ideas we're talking about. The Bible tells us that the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness. These are the types of values or types of intentional resonance we want to have as we prepare to move into our day and out into the world. But if you're affirming health, and then you're making bad decisions for yourself all day, eating sugar, going to restaurants that have yucky food, you're out of alignment with your intention. Intention is a great start, but you have to follow it with guided action. If your intention is health and you drink good water and try to eat good foods and try to put things in your body that help nourish you and help you, then your actions are in alignment. If your intention is, I am light, and you surround yourself with people that are not in resonance with you, it's going to be very hard to hold that light. Right? So just keep in mind, friends, that the actions you make after the intention are as, if not more important than the intention. Because the actions will say to the world, say to the universe, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and this is how I want my life. This is what I want my life to be full of. This energy, this light, and this spiritual intention. So my friends, my hope for you is that you will begin to use the journal. And Sean, if you are on YouTube and can see a couple of pages, I wanted to just review a couple of those quickly, simply so you had an idea that we start today, first of all, with our I am, which I've talked all about today. We had some examples in the book, in the journal. I am joy. I am light. I am strength. Right. And then realizing that is from your highest, that is your highest spiritual intention. This is how I want to walk through my day. Then after that, in the book, or rather in the journal, there are these 4 quadrants for you to work with. Going into your gratitudes, asking the universe, what is my daily task, universe, that you want me to do? And just really stopping, listening to that guidance, and then writing those down. And not just writing them down, but doing them. And I love how all of these will relate to your I am. Then the last 2 are self-care and affirmation. The self-care is about what do I need to make this I am manifest. You know, today mine was life. I know I need to eat good food. I need to hydrate. I need to do my exercises and stretch a little bit to keep my body in line. I know that there are certain things I had to do to take care of my home today. I was really guided to do those things. I needed to buy groceries. I can't have life energy if I'm not feeding my spirit and my body, right? So, and then finally, the affirmation is, I am life. God is my life and my world. I live God energy in the world. I am blessed. I am supported. All is truly well with my soul. That would be a wonderful, wonderful affirmation. So, my friends, I hope you will use the journal. I hope you will. And if you don't even use a journal, take a screenshot and do it on your own. Any way you want to get the material, get it and do it. Don't let purchasing a book keep you from setting your highest intention every morning. And just know as you decide to do this, my friends, that the universe supports a willing heart. God does not need your perfection. God needs your willingness and your surrender to something higher. And that makes room for God to work. So I hope you will take time to set your intention and then move forward, taking that spiritually guided action. Remember that as you take this action, not only will you be on purpose, not only will you be focused, but you'll have the support of the whole universe behind you. Remember, friends, God loves you. You are supported. And I thank you for joining us today for the Experience of the Soul podcast, my friends. Blessings on the journey.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2025, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated. Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience, with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.